Hello, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take on a wonderful Wednesday morning. Let's get started. I have a lot to talk about. So I'm going to start with some football news in the NFL. So recently, Saints head coach Sean Payton said that Taysom Hill can easily be the starting quarterback for the Saints in the future. Now, it's not surprising that he said this because he said this before. But what is surprising is that how many this is like I don't know how many times, but he's said this a lot of times already. He's said this so many times that it makes the question, okay, will Taysom Hill be the starting quarterback in 2021? Will he be a starter at some point? And if so, how good will he be? So I'm going to go into in-depth analysis on my take here and then kind of give you a summary of what I think. So let's answer the first question. Will Taysom Hill be the starter in 2021 or at some point? In my opinion, I feel like that's most likely a yes, and there's multiple reasons why. The first reason why is Sean Payton said so. I mean, I don't know Sean Payton personally, but he doesn't appear to be a liar, so I'll trust him when he says that. The next reason why is because they put a first round tender on Taysom, so that way they made sure that no one would steal him away. Another reason why is because they redid his contract when they didn't have to, so that way he got paid $16 million in guaranteed money. So that's a lot of money. So $16 million for a year, that's a lot for if you were just going to be a backup quarterback only. Now you could say, well, that money is for his slash role, multi-position role, but I'm not sure how much money you can equivalent that to. But either way, it's still a lot of money. Now there's people who say that why did they sign Teddy Bridgewater and then why did they just sign Jameis Winston if they feel like Taysom's the quarterback of the future? And there's actually a couple good reasons why. One is, let's say Taysom happens to get injured, and then let's say for some reason Drew Brees gets injured. Well, now you're on the third quarterback and your season's over. But if you already have a third quarterback there, like Jameis Winston, for example, then your season's not all lost yet. There's still hope for your season. Versus if you just have to sign a random quarterback from the practice squad or for the free agent market, which there's a reason why there's quarterbacks there in the free agent market during the season is because they're not that good. Also, another reason why is the league is transitioning to a quarterback running league. So this league is going to be set up for like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, etc. While the Tom Brady's and the Drew Breeses are kind of going to be disappearing soon. So Taysom obviously fits that description perfectly as a running quarterback. And then there are people who are going to say, well, why did they start Teddy Bridgewater when Drew Brees went down instead of starting Taysom Hill? And why did they just sign Jameis Winston? So the reason why, let's go back to why did they start Teddy Bridgewater. For one, he was getting paid very highly for a backup quarterback. So that would kind of be a waste of money to not start him while Drew Brees was out. They got to get their money's worth. Another reason why they started Teddy is because Teddy skill set is a lot similar to Drew Brees, so that way they can run the same offense versus Taysom Hill, where you have to run a totally different offense, kind of like how the Ravens ran this system with Flacco, but then once they went full-time with Lamar Jackson, they had to change the entire system for Lamar. So that's what I feel like they're going to do with Taysom once Taysom takes over, and that takes a full offseason knowing in advance, okay, yeah, he's going to start 2021 versus, oh, now he's all of a sudden going to start, oh, well, we don't have a lot of time to get him right type of thing. So that's why I feel like they just brought in Jameis Winston again because if Brees would get injured this year, and then they can replace Brees with Winston, and then they don't have to change too much of the system. And one thing I will say, though, is that there's a bunch of reasons why I know people are pessimistic about Taysom besides the reasons I just established. So let's go ahead and go to the college route here. Now in college, his numbers were overly impressive. He was a Heisman candidate at one point his junior year, and he probably would have been good his senior year. But the numbers don't scream starting quarterback in the NFL, but that's okay. I mean, Tony Romo, no one knew him in college. he was an undrafted quarterback, and he ended up being a franchise QB. So people can grow and develop and change over time. So I'm not gonna look at his college stats. I'm just gonna throw that out the window. The only thing I'm gonna hold about college is his injury history, because that can still apply to the NFL. For example, quarterbacks like Sam Bradford, you get injured in college, you get injured in the NFL. RG3, you get injured in college, you get injured in the NFL. So I understand injuries in that regard and the skepticism there, but I feel like that's a risk you have to be willing to take if you're the Saints. And then since he does have injury history, just make sure you have a backup QB like you've had the past couple of seasons, because backup QBs are very valuable these days. The other concern that people throw out is his age, because he's 30 years old. Now, didn't Brady just win a Super Bowl recently when he was like 40 years old? Now, I'm not comparing Taysom Hill to Brady, because Brady is a way better passer. But at 40 Hills, Brady is nearly not athletic as Taysom Hill at all. So it just shows that, okay, you don't have to have athleticism to win a Super Bowl age. As long as you can just pass the ball and don't make too many mistakes, you can win a Super Bowl. Which his passing may not be Brady level right now, but he can eventually prove and just be a better passer within 10 years. So that way, when his athleticism diminishes, then he can use his arm to win. But technically, it wouldn't surprise me if he's still athletic at 40 years old. I don't know why, but it just wouldn't surprise me. That's my gut feeling there. Another concern for a lot of people, and this is the big concern, is just that there's just not enough of a sample size to make a rational decision if he's a starting quarterback or not. And if you're basing up just off that, then yeah, I totally understand your point there. So that's why I feel like Taysom Hill, and they even talked about it before, they're gonna like start giving a little bit more quarterback reps to Taysom Hill. So instead of just taking 1 snap per game, it's gonna go up to 5 and possibly even 10 snaps, or maybe even 15 snaps, or eventually go to a half Brees, half Taysom type of thing. And it's not gonna be just snaps where he gets the ball and runs it or hands off. I'm talking about actually like passing the ball. So to finally wrap up that question, yes, I feel like he'll start at some point. So now to finally answer the second question, how good would Taysom be? In my opinion, Taysom Hill will be fine. The problem is we all have different opinions on what is the definition of a franchise quarterback or a definition of a successful quarterback. So here is what I'm going to go off of what I think is success. So let's answer the first question that defines success. Will Taysom have good stats? Yes, because he runs the ball. So I feel like if Taysom Hill can pass for 3,000 yards, rush for 1,000 yards, have around 4,000 yards total, he has 30 touchdowns and maybe 10 interceptions, so 3-to-1 ratio there. I feel like that's good enough stats right there. If he can keep that up every season, basically. And then the next question is, can Taysom Hill lead this team to playoffs? Yes. If Tim Tebow can, and a lot of people compare Taysom Hill and Tim Tebow together, if Tebow could do it, Taysom Hill could do it. Can Taysom win the division? I'll say once Brady either is just not good anymore or he retires, then Taysom Hill can. But if Brady's still playing at a highly effective level, then it'll be hard for Taysom to win the division. But that makes sense because it's Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. So can Taysom Hill win a playoff game? Yes, anyone can get lucky. Can Taysom Hill make a deep run in the playoffs? If Ryan Tannehill can this past season, so can Taysom. Now, there's a few things I would like for him to do, but I don't think he'll do it. For example, I don't feel like he will win a Super Bowl with the Saints. But if you're basing success off, okay, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, he's not a good quarterback, then you're just wrong there. Matt Ryan is a good quarterback. He's most likely not going to win a Super Bowl. Phillip Rivers has been a pretty good quarterback, but he's most likely not going to win a Super Bowl. In my opinion, they're good quarterbacks, and they're successful quarterbacks, even though they technically never won a Super Bowl. So I'm not gonna diminish Taysom Hill to you have to win a Super Bowl or else you're not successful. So for example, if Taysom Hill can win 10 games one year, 8 games next year, 9 games the third year, 11 games the fourth year, so kind of just like a mix around there. So over the next 4 seasons, they win those amount of games. They make the playoffs twice. They go on a deep run once. I feel like that's pretty good for Taysom Hill. That's good enough. In my opinion, at the very least, if he's not the future for a decade, at least he can be a bridge quarterback like Tyrod Taylor is about to be for the Chargers until Justin Herbert is ready to take over. he can be that for a few seasons before he goes back to his last role, but at least he can be given the chance. So to summarize my two questions, yes, he will start at some point. And Taysom Hill, in my opinion, will be just a fine QB. So now let's go over to some basketball news real quick. So in the NBA, it was announced yesterday that Bojan Bogdanovic for the Utah Jazz is having wrist surgery, so he's going to be out for the whole season, and then he'll be ready to go next season. He averaged 20 points per game. So this is a very big deal for the Utah Jazz. It's very interesting because the NBA hasn't come out and said yet for sure if they're having the playoffs or not, if they're going to be able to finish. So I have a couple thoughts here, and before I get started on my thoughts, keep in mind that I know nothing. I don't have any connection with Bojan. I don't have any sources. This is just my opinion and my take on this. So keep that in mind when I'm discussing the subject here. But the starters, I feel like the Utah Jazz can still win the first round against the Thunder, but it's going to be a little bit tougher, and then they'll probably get swept in the second round by Lakers. So forget what I said about the Jazz's prediction earlier in my prediction for the playoffs. But I think it's interesting that he's getting surgery right now, especially because well, if the season does resume, then the Jazz are going to need him if they want to have a realistic shot of winning a championship. So I feel like Bojan is secretly sending a message here. So the message that Bojan could be sending is, well, even if the season does resume, I don't want to risk getting the coronavirus or something like that. So this is a good way to just end the season for sure. Now I can remain safe, and then I'll be ready to go once next season starts. Also, it's good because the Jazz, let's face it, they're not going to win a championship this year. But next year, LeBron's going to be getting older, plus AD still has to resign with the Lakers. Houston might blow things up, so next year could be a better chance for the Jazz to try to go win a championship. And it's better if Bojan's healthy next season versus playing on an injured wrist if the season were to resume and accidentally making it worse, or he waited so long because he thought the season was going to resume and it didn't, that he has a surgery now. He has to miss part of next season. So it stinks for the Jazz because now this season's basically a wash. But it's good for the Jazz long term and good for Bojan long term. So thank you very much for listening to my show today. And let me leave comments. Let me know what you want me to talk about in the future. And you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.